Hey everybody, I hope you guys are all healthy and safe. So for those who care, the two bites on my nose they're getting better. It's not as red, it's not as swollen, so I'm a little bit relieved. It's not as bad as I thought it was a couple of days ago. So anyway, today's video, we're going to take a look at the Elephone E10. So for those of you who have been watching my channel since the beginning, you may remember that when I first started out, I was reviewing a lot of these smaller Chinese brands like Elephone, Doogie, Liegu, Blueboo, Oukitel, Maze, and those brands were specialized in pumping out, cheap phones like around 100 bucks, 150 bucks, but the quality was always a little bit subpar. But the thing is, because they were so cheap, there was still a lot of people interested in those phones. But in the last couple of years, because Oppo launched Realme, which started selling really budget phones, and Xiaomi has ramped up production of Redmi phones, that's really killed off a lot of these smaller brands. Like I haven't heard from Liegu, Blueboo in a couple of years. I don't even know if they still exist. I don't know if they still make phones. Elephone, it's about the only one of these small brands that I still hear from. And it's a good thing because Elephone was almost undoubtedly the best one of all those brands I just mentioned. So anyway, let's take a look at this E10. It is selling for 110 US dollars. Definitely pretty cheap, but we'll see if performance, surpass that price point. This is always my favorite part of any unboxing, peeling the plastic film off. So we have a soft jelly case with an additional screen protector, plastic film protector. And we have here a USB-C cable and a charging brick. So pretty standard bare bones unboxing experience. So you see there's a fingerprint sensor on the right side of the phone along with volume rockers. The fingerprint sensor doubles as a power button. Anyway, I got to set up this phone, so I'm going to set it up, take it outside, test it a little bit, and then I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back with the Elephone E10. So I've been testing it for the past couple of hours, so I have a pretty good impression of this device already. Although this is a pre-production unit, so some of the software stuff that I'm going to complain about later, it's probably potentially could be improved. So we'll start with the hardware. This is a 6.5 inch display, 720 by 1560. It's an LCD panel. And at this price point, I don't have many complaints. It's bright enough for outdoor use. As you can see, I can see outside the sun. Viewing angles are pretty good, and colors look pretty lively. Everything kind of pop off the screen pretty nicely, even though the resolution it's not the highest around. Now, there is a water drop notch housing a 13 megapixel selfie camera, and the chin is a little bit outdated. Now around the back, this is plastic as I mentioned, but the plastic curves in all the right areas, like the top, bottom, left, and right, so it actually fits into the palm pretty nicely. And overall, this is a phone that fits into my hand pretty nicely. It's not too heavy. It's about 175 grams. The fingerprint sensor works as advertised, although it is slightly slow. It's not like the fastest fingerprint sensor around. So powering the phone is a Helio A25. It's an update on the Helio P22 that came out a couple of years ago. So it is a relatively new chip, but it is a mid-tier chipset, can't lie. If you look at the Geekbench score, it's not that high, but it's definitely good enough for everyday use. The GPU on this is pretty good too. As you can see, I'm playing graphically intensive games out here at the highest setting, and everything's running pretty smoothly. I can see a little bit of frame drops here and there, but overall, performance is okay. And I'm playing at the highest setting. If I lower the graphics setting, performance will be a little smoother. But even here, it's perfectly usable. And all the other functionality that you might expect, Bluetooth 5.0, dual 4G SIM card support, are all handled by this chip without any issues. There's only a single bottom fine speaker on the bottom, so no stereo speakers, but this earpiece for phone calls do sound pretty good. So inside the phone is a 4,000 mAh battery, which should be enough to last you all day. I haven't tested the phone long enough to give you a verdict yet, but the screen's not even 1080p resolution, so 4,000 mAh should be good enough. Now in terms of software, this phone runs on Android 10 with Elephone's Android skin on top, but it's actually not bad. Elephone's Android skin, it's clean, colorful, and there's virtually no bloatware. In fact, you look at the phone, like these are all the apps that come out of the box, just the main Google apps, and then a couple of stock Elephone apps that you need, like a phone dialer and a settings panel and a contacts app. That's it. Otherwise, everything else, there's nothing in here that's considered bloatware. So it's a really clean software experience. You get gesture navigation and traditional 3-button navigation, so you have an option to choose. Now look at the cameras. There's a 48 megapixel main camera at the top, and then below it, it's a 13 megapixel wide angle camera, and then below that, it's a 5 megapixel depth sensor, and over here, it's a 2 megapixel macro lens. Now, if you're familiar with these smaller, lesser known Chinese brands, some of them have had a history of faking camera hardware. Like I remember some of the older Doogie phones, they would say it's a dual camera setup even though the second lens doesn't do anything. I can vouch that that's not the case here. These 4 lenses actually work. The macro shots, you can actually get up close to the subject and they look pretty decent. The wide angle camera works as advertised, and likewise, the depth sensor appears to be pretty good because I took a couple of test bokeh shots and you can see the depth of field effect look pretty good and edge detection's on point too. Obviously, I don't have another human being here to test portraits because my girlfriend's still in San Francisco right now, so I've had to test on inanimate objects. But so far, it's looking pretty solid. Like these 4 lenses, at least they do the job as advertised. However, overall image quality is just not that good, which shouldn't be a surprise if you are familiar with budget Chinese phones. In general, when you take pictures of the main camera, colors are pretty dull. Everything's a little bit undersaturated. It's like the opposite of Samsung phones, which tend to be oversaturated. But at least the camera app is pretty easy to use with a manual mode that actually works, and the camera focus is pretty fast too. I'm actually quite impressed by the auto-focusing speed of the Elephone E10's main camera. So video performance, as you can see here, it's not that good. There's no stabilization at all. I know that this one's only $110, so maybe I shouldn't nitpick, but you can buy a Realme or Redmi phone now for about $220, so just $100 more and it will give you much better video performance. Other performance is fine. The Bluetooth connectivity, Wi-Fi connectivity, and cellular reception all work with no issues. And again, the construction overall is pretty nice. So ultimately, if you are someone who just on a very, very tight budget and you cannot spend more than $110 on a phone, then maybe you can consider the Elephone E10. Or if you're someone who just wants to support smaller Chinese startups, then you want to look into the Elephone E10. But otherwise, would I recommend this phone over like a Realme or Redmi phone? Even the most entry models that sell for just $200, I would not. I would say get the Realme or Redmi just because they're backed by bigger companies, so you're going to get better software updates, better software optimization, and just more reliable hardware all around. If all you have on you is $110, $115 to spend on a phone, this is just about the only option right now that's not like completely terrible. If you're interested in following up to date with all the latest gadgets, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Oh, take care, stay healthy.